Let's do something new. I'm going to be talking about Blue and Ivory. Blue recently met Ivory at a wedding for his friend George. It took a while, but afterwards, Blue asked George for Ivory's number, and they talked on the phone for a little bit, and they realized that they lived very far away from each other. Blue, from the beginning, knew that long distance was going to be a hard thing for him, and he let this be known to Ivory very early. But they still had their conversations and still talked, and they had planned to meet in Dallas for a nice date. Now, see, Blue enjoys talking with Ivory. She's a very good conversationalist. She gives good advice, and she's very interesting. All things that Blue, you could say he values this. The problem comes when Blue brings up to Ivory that he doesn't feel wanted. Because every time they call, Blue has to be the one to call. Ivory lets Blue know that because of her last relationship, she might not feel very emotionally available. This could happen to be because of how far away they are from each other, but still, that's where we're at. Now, see, most of Blue's life, whenever someone would leave him or somehow wouldn't be in his life anymore for whatever reason, he'd completely cut them off entirely. They were just gone, like they never existed. Block everything, destroy everything. Like he's throwing a fire into the whole relationship, like it never happened. But this time, as they talked, Blue felt his heart kind of crush because he enjoyed this relationship so much, no matter what it was. He understood that it had value for him. Now the question is, what do you do? Most people in Blue's life would tell him that, just have the relationship, right? Just maybe you guys will see each other again. But that was very new to Blue. Blue had become this very overthinking kind of person, and his family didn't help with this. When he first told his family about Ivory, they were very up in arms. Blue's family is you could say a little bit racist. And Blue likes to see the good in all people. But when talking about the values of Ivory's parents, his family was very caught off guard. Blue understood this as they just wanted the best for him. But it didn't help that when he was talking to Ivory, his feelings were very real. His feelings of just enjoying the relationship. So Blue went and talked to George. And George told him that if you enjoy the relationship, why don't you just continue it? But Blue's an overthinker, and he thought of every reason why this wouldn't be a good idea. Getting too invested, maybe meeting new people, and just the pressure of being so far away from each other that every meeting would just feel like a ton of bricks. But George asked him how he felt about Ivory. And in reality, Blue had nothing but good things to say. So George told him, instead of overthinking, how about you just take it one step at a time? See, this way of thinking is very foreign to Blue. It's foreign to his family. Because you have to think months, years ahead to see if what you're doing is even worth it. Now, Blue doesn't date just to date. He doesn't date just for a fling. He dates for oftentimes a purpose. But here, his friend is telling him just to kind of go with the flow and stop overthinking, which his friend admits is way easier said than done. But Blue has a moment where he thinks to himself and realizes that this is a skill that he needs to build. And then a little bit of a butterfly sparks in his chest, realizing that things could maybe work out with Ivory. Maybe after a few years, they would get a little bit closer together and start living a little bit closer, and all this waiting would be worth it. But then it's that fear of, what if Ivory finds someone new? What if it doesn't work out? And George was there again to tell him, that's you overthinking. Which you realize this relationship is good for you. You realize that you enjoy talking with this person. Why would you ruin something that is serving you so well? Especially when the other person doesn't want to. So, Blue decided to text Ivory the next day and told her that he enjoyed whatever they had and hoped that they could have conversations in the future. What's good about this is that there's just no more pressure now. There's no pressure to stay on the phone for so long. There's no pressure to call Ivory every day. There's no pressure for any of that. If Blue wants to talk to her, he can, but there is no obligation because they're dating or trying things out. But there is no obligation because they're dating or trying things out. What does Blue want to do? Where does he see this going? I think what scares Blue is that it diverges him from a very typical path of his, where he just lets things go, lets relationships go, burns it all. But no, this time it's going to persist. You won't get a resolution here. You don't get to just throw someone away. You have to just sit with the fact that, yeah, you two like each other, but you guys aren't going to date. Nothing's going to happen. And guys might just talk sometimes. That's just how it's going to be. But you do acknowledge that you enjoy the moments that you have. So take it for what it is. The only question is, if Blue gets someone who's closer to him, that likes him, does he tell them about Ivory? What does he do then? But that's obviously not taking it one step at a time, right? We tell Blue to calm down and not think so far ahead. Take things day by day. And for being honest, more often than not, it's going to be that Blue really doesn't date anyone and he's single up until the moment he's closer to Ivory.